Hey guys, with our favourite Fontanian perfumer finally arriving, I thought I would make a guide for her unique kit. Emilie is a 5-star Dendro Polearm user that plays as an off-field Dendro sub-DPS for burning teams. Her elemental skill and her burst will be responsible for most of her kit's damage. Emilie's normal attack will perform 4 consecutive spear hits on the target, and her charge attack will perform an upward slash. You will find yourself not really using these attacks as they perform very badly, at least not until C6. Emilie's elemental skill on the other hand is what you should be using. She creates a Lumidos case that deals AoE Dendro damage. It fires puffs of pure dew at enemies dealing Dendro damage in intervals. If the nearby opponents are burning, they give off scents. 1 scent can be created every 2 seconds. The case collects nearby scents and will level up after gathering 2 of them. This will allow the case to fire off an extra shot each time it fires and deal increased damage. Only 1 case can exist at a time. The case always starts at level 1 and can be leveled up to level 2. If the case does not collect any scents in 8 seconds, it will revert back to level 1. The case will also periodically deal Numa-aligned Dendro damage. This skill has a 22-second duration and a 14-second cooldown, so you will have 100% uptime on her case. Emilie's elemental burst straight up creates a level 3 Lumidos case and removes the other case off of the field. The level 3 case will not gather any scents, but will deal continuous Dendro damage to nearby enemies. 1 scented dew will descend every 0.3 seconds and 1 opponent can become the target every 0.7 seconds. When the duration of this burst ends, a level 1 case will be recreated. If you had a case out when you used her burst, the case will be recreated and its duration will be reset. While her burst is active, you cannot create one with her skill. Emilie's first Ascension talent makes it so every time her level 2 case collects 2 scents, it will release a Clear Dew Cologne dealing Dendro damage equal to 600% of her attack. This is not considered elemental skill damage. Her second Ascension talent allows her to deal increased burning damage based on her attack. Every 1000 attack increases the damage dealt by 15%, capping at 36%. For her utility talent, while Emilie's case is on the field, all party members gain 85% pyro resistance to burning. For talent priority, you want to level her skill, then her burst, then I wouldn't bother leveling her normal attacks. For weapons, unfortunately nothing really comes close to her signature weapon, Lumidos Elegy. It comes with crit rate substat and the weapon's passive is as follows. Along with a 15% straight up attack buff, when the equipping character triggers burning or deals Dendro damage to a burning enemy, the damage dealt is increased by 18%. This effect lasts for 8 seconds and can stack twice. When the stacks are reached or the duration is refreshed, restore 12 energy. This can only be restored every 12 seconds. The 2 previous passive effects can be triggered off-field. Emilie really needs this extra energy. I will say however, she doesn't need this weapon to perform well, but it does help a lot. The second best weapon is Calamity Queller. If you haven't used Shenhe in a while, you can dust off this weapon and give it to Emilie. It offers a huge amount of attack and elemental skill damage. Next is Staff of Homer, giving a lot of attack, but requiring less than 50% HP to be optimal. Engulfing Lightning gives a lot of attack, and as Emilie's energy recharge is very high, you would get a lot out of this weapon. Primordial Jade Spear gives a nice amount of attack. R1 Deathmatch is slightly behind Primordial Jade Spear, so if you have a good amount of refinements in this spear, it will be better than Primordial Jade Spear. Missive Wind Spear is slightly behind Deathmatch, but you will only have this weapon if you completed the Of Ballads and Bruise event in 3.1. R5 Catch can be used if you have none of the weapons before this one, and Favonius Spear can be your emergency if you have nothing. For artifact sets, Unfinished Reverie is her best set. The 2-piece gives attack, and the 4-piece says that after leaving combat for 3 seconds, damage dealt is increased by 50%. While in combat, if no nearby enemies are burning for 6 seconds, this buff will decrease by 10% per second. And when burning enemies exist, it will increase by 10% per second. This effect can trigger off-field. It almost feels like this set was made for Emilie. Deepwood Memories is a very close second with its damage increase and Dendro Defense Shred, but you will only use this set if you don't have a second Dendro character on your team using it. Golden Troop is after that with its great elemental skill damage increase, and after Golden Troop you can use 2-piece attack and 2-piece Dendro damage. This is very close to 4-piece Golden Troop, so use what you have with better stats on. And if you're new to the game and cannot get real artifacts yet, 4-piece Instructor will give your team a nice bit of elemental mastery from an elemental reaction. For her energy requirement, if you have a second Dendro character on the team and have a Favonius weapon, you will need around 110% energy recharge. If you don't have a Favonius weapon but you still have a second Dendro character, you will need around 140%. And finally, if you don't have a Favonius weapon or a second Dendro character on the team, you will need around 200% energy recharge. This is a pretty huge amount for her 50 cost burst. For artifact stats, on Sands you want attack percentage, on Goblet you want Dendro damage, and on Circler you want crit rate or crit damage. For substats you want attack percentage, then crit rate and crit damage, then energy recharge. Here are some teams. I'll start with Burn Mono Pyro. Here are some Melt Teams. Here are some Vape Teams. Here is a Quick Burn team. Here are some Super Bloom teams. Emilie's Dendra application and damage are very good, so she can fit in here. Here is a Spread Alhaitham. Any main DPS Dendra character can fit here instead of Alhaitham if you need to. Now for Constellations. Emilie's C1 increases the damage dealt by her elemental skill, and her Ascension talent Clear Do Cologne by 20%. Also, when nearby party members trigger a burning reaction or deal Dendra damage to a burning enemy, they will generate an additional scent. This can be triggered every 2.9 seconds. This constellation gives around a 30% damage increase, which is crazy. Emilie's C2 makes it so when her elemental skill, Burst or Clear Do Cologne hit an enemy, it shreds the enemy's Dendra resistance by 30%. This is another crazy constellation. Her C4 increases the burst duration by 2 seconds and reduces the interval between opponents being selected as the target for the scent to do by 0.3 seconds. Emilie's C6 is another crazy one. When using her skill or burst, Emilie will get Abiding Fragrance for 5 seconds. While this is active, after Emilie uses a normal or charge attack, she will generate 1 scent. This will convert her normal and charge attack damage into Dendra damage, and the damage dealt will be increased by 300% of Emilie's attack. The effect will be removed after 4 scents are created or after the duration expires. Abiding Fragrance can be triggered once every 12 seconds. This constellation would allow her to be infinitely more flexible and be used in so many more teams. This constellation kinda reminds me of Farina's C6. As you can see, her constellations are pretty stacked. Just getting her C2 will give her almost 60% more damage. If you are going for constellations, I would recommend C1 and C2. If you want a whale and get her C6, I ain't gonna stop you. When it comes to C1 versus R1, her C1 is a bigger jump than her next best choice of weapon, which is funny because her signature weapon is a big jump. Although if the best weapon you have for her is only R5 catch, her signature weapon is better than her constellation. Here are the pros and cons. Pros: very good Dendra application off field, which makes her good in non-burning teams. She allows burning teams to be amazing, basically adds a new powerful playstyle to the game as burning was kinda lacking before. Cons: you can't really play her on field until C6 when you can play her as a main DPS. Emilie's full potential as a burn sub DPS can't really be used until we have a way better and stronger pyro applicator, which could possibly come in Natlan or the future. Should you pull? I personally would recommend her if you're needing her exact kit for your burning teams. Maybe you need a very good Dendra applicator, or just a strong Dendra sub DPS. She kinda covers all roles but the main DPS, although she does cover that role at C6 if you're brave enough to go that far. But that's it for Emilie. I think she's worth the pull, unless of course you have your eyes set on your favourite waifu or husbando. Let me know in the comments if you're wishing on Emilie or just have any other questions in general. If you liked the video, subscribe, maybe leave a thumbs up, and thanks for watching. See ya.